Before this video begins, I'd like to give a huge thanks to my channel members, who you can see on screen now. Become a member by hitting the join button and get your name here among other awards today. Hello there and welcome back to another edition of Silly Car Showdown. Today, we are taking a look at the Audi RS2 Avant. This car was requested by Victim2077. And yeah, this is a car I do rather like. I actually did a Top Gear Rivals episode on this not too long ago, and I actually found out quite a bit about the RS2 Avant, and it's one that I have really started to like recently. 5-cylinder turbo engine, bits from Porsche 993 Turbo, such as the brakes, the wheels, the wing mirrors. It's all very, very interesting. The first ever Audi RS car, and it's one hell of a kickstart to a brand, if you ask me. Also, this car was actually built in the Porsche factory, interestingly enough. As far as engine swaps go, well, we have one, the Turbo Rally, which we're not using. Also, no drivetrain swaps, and no Forza Aero is allowed per the rules of this series. Interestingly enough, this car does not come with a stock rear wing, which I forgot about. Anyways, so that means we do start on tyres, 265s on the front and 265s on the rear, because it's a four-wheel drive car, of course, which is a little bit disappointing. I was kind of hoping for, you know, 275s, maybe 285s, but I can deal with those. I'm not expecting a massive amount of power out of this vehicle, in all honesty, so yeah, it probably won't matter as much. Anyways, we'll upgrade those Porsche brakes to more modern brakes, go for the race springs, which don't lower it all that much, it has to be said. Anti-roll bars we are going to want, roll cage, which does add a fair bit of weight, and weight reduction, which doesn't remove as much weight as I was maybe expecting it to. Right, let's start building up the stock engine. I'm imagining this is probably going to end up mid S1 class. It's not going to gain PI too quickly. Modifying these modifying these components, it probably won't gain PI too quickly, but, you know. We'll probably have a good launch stat, that we will. Although that turbo only adds 25 horsepower, which is pretty pathetic. Oh, there we go, finally get to the 10 launch stat, and there we go. S1854, 562 horsepower, which is exactly the same amount of power that you get from the standard V10 engine swap, which is interesting. 480 foot-pound torque, 2,894 pounds of weight, 2.7 seconds to 60, which is pretty good. 204 miles per hour. One of the more actually statistically impressive cars as far as the benchmark statistics go for today, but in terms of actual sort of overall performance around the track, like I said, I'm not really expecting an awful lot from this. I'm expecting it to probably be quite nice to drive, but in terms of, you know, being a nice car, or in terms of being quick, you know, leaderboard rivaling or anything like that, no, that's not to be expected. But I'm still very interested to see how this drives. So here we are once again at our course with the Audi RS2 Avant. Alrighty, 75 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the God tier Lotus Elise GT1. That's at a time of 131.226. The Audi, very unlikely to beat that. In terms of where this car will go, I actually don't really know. It is all very dependent on how this car handles. Best case scenario, probably challenging the Subaru Impreza Hawkeye, so around the very, very high 145s, low 146s. The absolute worst, 147s, 148s. Evo 9 actually might be a pretty good comparison to this car. That car is in 28th with 146.805. I will say Audis do have a relatively good track record around here. Of course, we had the Audi RS4 Saloon, which is one of the quickest cars we've ever had. That's right up there with like a 140.4, maybe? 140.5, somewhere around there. I will say straight away, I'm very impressed by the Audi. So coming from the RX-8 to this is a rather a revelation, because this seems to handle really very, very nicely indeed. It's quite a good snappy sort of turn-in and all the rest of it. Which is good, that's what I like to see. The good launch as well should also benefit this car quite well when it comes to getting out of some of the corners here. This is the all-wheel drive car I was talking about. The only all-wheel drive car in our current recording session. And yeah, It does seem to be doing rather well indeed. And again, through sort of some of the lower speed sections, having all-wheel drive is very much a help, just to get the car out of sections, especially this sort of first bit here. This is where four-wheel drive really helps sort of slide you around some of these corners. It's very much helpful. It's sort of... Ooh, I've missed that checkpoint, haven't I? Bollocks. Cock and bollocks. Penis bollocks. Anyways. Well done to me for that. But we still have plenty of laps with the RS2 remaining, so I'm not too worried about that affecting this car massively. Giant rear light bar. I never realised that sort of they're all segmented into little... I'm not sure what was there. I'm assuming it's like a reflector or something. Not 100% sure. The RS2 is quite a good looking estate car, all in all. It's sort of got that almost Volvo boxy vibe to it, which is quite nice. Get a little bit indicative of sort of more modern estate cars as well, with the way the rear end sort of swoops a little bit. I'm getting a little bit sort of looking at it that way, almost like Subaru Legacy Wagon, or Legnum, stuff like that. Anyways, this car would later be replaced by the RS4 Avant, of course, which is in this game, I think, or isn't it? I don't remember. I know the newer RS4 Avant is, I have no idea if the 01 is. I know it's in Forza 7, so... Anyways. I know partly about the car list in this game. The car list in this game is one of those where you sort of look at it, pretty much like every Horizon game since Horizon 2, really, in all honesty. It's one of those where you look at it and you just sort of, every now and again, someone tells you like, oh, this car isn't in the game, and you go, isn't it? And then you actually look and you're like, oh, I didn't even realise that, but holy crap, it's like I found out the other day the 2015 Mustang wasn't in this game. Completely forgot about that fact. Also, there was another one which I can't remember. Another weird one. There's a couple of weird little bits and bobs that I completely forget are either in or not in the game. Ooh, that was a pretty good section right there. Yeah, this car does feel like it could be quite quick. Straight line speed is not particularly great. And then again, I mean, this isn't the lightest of vehicles, being a bigger estate car. Of course, that means it has to have a bigger roll cage, and roll cages do add a lot of weight. I'll keep an eye out for the straight line speed down here. Yeah, we're on about RX-8 levels of speed. It's pretty much a sort of all-wheel drive version of the RX-8, come to think of it. Although, it doesn't really feel too much like it. It feels a lot nicer to drive than the RX-8, but it feels a lot slower. Which is ironic, because it actually really is not that much slower straight line speed-wise, but it certainly feels it. Because the way it gains speed is so much less than the RX-8. Then again, I mean, this is allowed to get bigger run-ups and stuff, because the all-wheel drive does allow it to gain its foothold and its traction much easier than the RX-8 would. It's always something to bear in your mind. Apparently my German accent's coming out now that I'm driving the Audi. Yeah, it's Audi. It's good. It's quattro. A 147.503. Right around the RX-8's time, aren't you, ironically enough? Maybe those two cars will be the ones that sort of face off in direct competition. Yeah, I was sort of got excited when I first drove this. Sort of the handling was really spot on, and it felt like this could be a Subaru Impreza competitor, but the more I'm driving it, the more I'm realising the Subaru had one hell of an edge when it came to its straight line speed. And also maybe the handling was a little bit tidier on the Subaru. This feels snappy, but to a point. It's sort of... It feels really agile at low speeds, and it sort of feels like that agileness quickly sort of starts fading more into just understeer once you get quicker and quicker in this vehicle, which is a really rather odd thing to go through, it has to be said. Yeah, handling seems alright, everything seems pretty spot on. But yeah, it really is lacking in straight line speed. It is not a quick motor vehicle, it has to be said. Speed is not of the essence when driving an Audi RS2 Avant. Or the Audi 80 RS2 Avant, technically, to give it its chronological name. I've got no idea. What I do know is this is looking like it's going to be a quicker lap, which is probably the best bet this car is going to get. As far as laps are concerned, pretty good. Second to last corner there. As we come up the cliffs of Dover. Ooh, this could be a very quick time. That was quicker than this car had any right to be, it has to be said. But yeah, wow, okay. That was not expecting it. The Audis just seem to be really able to pull something out of their arse when they need to, don't they? These Audis are always ridiculously quick. Yeah, that's not what I was expecting, in all honesty. Now, this is a tough one to explain. I just spent the last few minutes explaining why the Subaru's better than this, and now it's sort of beating the Hawkeye. Oh dear. Azza is not going to be pleased. Then again, in fairness to the Hawkeye, it was ran pretty early on. If I re-ran the Hawkeye, it would probably go a bit quicker, but I refuse to run a car the same way twice. I run it with different engines and stuff as many times as you want, but in terms of just running the same car again because you weren't happy with its lap time, yeah, I can't do that. If I could do that, I'd be probably stuck in hell driving the Elise GT1 well, I say hell. Driving the Elise GT1's heaven, but I'd be sat here by now still getting like a 126 with the bleeding thing. Anyways. Of course, there's plenty of Subarus in this game anyway, so I'm sure the Subaru can be avenged by another Subaru at some point. Ooh, bouncing off some lampposts. Yeah, you see, this seems like more the sort of time this car would get. Anyway, so 1:45.745 is the final time for the RS2 Avant. Yeah, not... yeah, I mean, it's good, obviously. The car's actually really nice to drive, the handling is very good, but straight line speed, I mean, I'm really surprised by it at the time, just because this car doesn't have no straight line speed whatsoever. I can't quite remember the power. 562, I believe, was the figure on this. Yes. Which, again, you know, compared to some of the stuff we've had, that's like nothing, so... It really doesn't feel like it has 562 horsepower either. In all honesty, it feels more like it's closer to 400, but... there you go. So it's just the way the cookie crumbles. It is an excellent handling car, though, so there's really no doubting that one. A 1:45.745 will put this car into 23rd place. It goes in between the BMW Z4 V10 and the Nissan Silvia muscle car. It is quicker than the Impreza by about 0.2 of a second, quicker than the GZ40 EcoBoost, the Nismo GCR LM. About a second up on the Evo 9. Yeah, the Audi did surprisingly well, it has to be said. Especially considering its lack of straight line speed. That one is something I'm finding very hard to explain, it has to be said. But there you go, Silly Car Showdown, full of surprises, as always. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. If you want to fill me full of surprises, you can do so down below in the comment section to request cars. Alternatively, you can click the link on the description below and join my Discord server where you can request cars in the requests chat, which I would prefer you to do because it keeps everything nice and ordered. And I can even tell you when your car's been run, so you can request another car immediately. But if you don't do that, that's absolutely a-okay. Anyways, thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, farewell.